What's going on, guys? Authentic J's back again with another video. Now, if you guys have been tuning in, you guys should know by now that this is the second part of my ASMR video. I released a video that has a talking version just like this one, and the one before it is no talking and is strictly ASMR. Now, if you guys have been following on for a while, you may have noticed that my background has changed, but I'm gonna get into that a little later. I got a lot to talk about in this video, but real quick, I want to explain to anyone who's new that this is going to be the part or the video where I actually go in and respond to you guys, talk to you guys, kind of explain what I'm doing, some of the mistakes that I've made, and things that I've learned overall, and give you some tips so you don't make the same mistakes that I have. And that being said, quick shout out to Michelle Lopez for this comment, because again, this is why I make this video, so I can kind of interact with you guys, answer some questions that you guys may have, and I am very happy that she asked this question. And I did respond to her comment, but anyone who doesn't know, this is the airbrush that I use. So the reason why I use this specific airbrush is because if anyone did any research on airbrushes, you may know that they aren't very cheap. Some can run you hundreds of dollars, and I am not a professional, and kind of like you guys, it's kind of hard to commit to something if this isn't your full-time job. And so I wanted to get something that worked but also was at the same time affordable. So I decided to go with this one. It's not too much of a commitment. I know some of you may think it's too expensive, but I think for what it is and for what you get, it's a fair price. So that's enough about the airbrush. There are things that I don't like about it and do like about it. If you guys want me to go more in depth, I can make another video about it or talk about it more in another video. But if you do want a video like that, make sure to comment down below so I know, and I'll go ahead and make a video about it. So the reason why you're seeing a new scenery is because I actually moved, and in the process of moving, I decided to kind of clean up my workstation and give a more professional look. And in the future, there is going to be a video with kind of like both the new and the old look, and that's because I was recording that video during the move. So stay tuned for that one. I'm so excited to show you guys that video, but I don't think it's going to come out anytime soon for a specific reason, and you will know why when the video releases. Alright, so back to this video. I know I talked during the acetoning phase. The reason why I acetone the shoe first is so the paint can adhere better. There is some type of finish when a shoe is made in the factory, so the acetone kind of removes that first layer so the paint can stick better. Now I started off by spraying the sides of the middle to get that green really on there. Don't worry if you get the green in the middle, you're just going to paint it over with the red. And the reason why I'm showing the specific colors that I'm using is so you guys can know what colors I used exactly, and also I use different reds in this video, so I didn't want to confuse anybody. And let me know if this helps or if you guys just want it in the description. And based off my analytics, I know the peeling part's your favorite, so I'm gonna stop talking for a second. And I'm back. So make sure to comment down below if you like those shots, and I'll continue making them. So for this stencil, how I got it was I had to Photoshop a Gucci snake and I printed it out using my Cricut. If you don't have a Cricut, don't worry. I have a video in my channel that shows you how to create your own stencil using tape, and I'll leave a link in this video and in the description for that tutorial. But before I create any design, I kind of see how it looks in Photoshop first. So this is an example of me photoshopping what I wanted onto my shoe before I created it. The reason why I do this is because there are times where a design may look or sound cool in your head, but once it's finally on there, it kind of looks a little whack. So This is kind of like a double check before you fully commit. Another thing I like to do on Photoshop before I start painting is create a color palette for myself, similar to this one. The reason why I like doing this is because 1, I know what colors I will need, and 2, I'm not scrambling all over the place trying to figure out where the shadows need to be. It's kind of a good guideline on where I need to color. The interesting part about how I painted the snake was for each shoe, I did a completely different method. But I'm gonna go into that in more detail as I go along. But essentially for this shoe, I used a toothpick for almost all of my painting, while the other one, I used a very fine brush. They both worked really well. However, I feel as though the paintbrush came out a little smoother. And as you can see, I started off with the darker, more shadows first, and then I went in with the lighter color. And while I was painting this, I made sure to reference the photoshopped image that I used for the color palette, and I went back and forth to make sure that the shadows were in the right areas. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. You can always go back and fix them. And trust me, I've made a lot of mistakes making this shoe. But you guys are only seeing the highlights, so maybe that's why it doesn't look like it. But there was a lot of going back, a lot of fixing up, so do not be afraid. And a quick tip. So on the second shoe when I was painting this, I actually did these black lines after I did the gray and whites. I feel like that's a lot easier. I have no idea why I decided to do the black lines first. This created a lot more work for me. So again, don't be afraid to make mistakes and just kind of learn from them. Or me, because I know I make a lot of mistakes and I'm not afraid to admit that. Another tip I would like to suggest, and I know this may be common sense for most of y'all, is to make a good amount of paint, especially for the ones that require mixing. You don't want to get your ratios off and kind of have 2 different color tones if you didn't make enough. So make sure to make enough paint, especially if you're going to paint the second shoe the same exact way. And this is what I was talking about before. I have no idea why I made it so hard on myself by painting the black lines first. Now I'm coloring basically double the gray that I needed to. And that is another perfect example as to why I'm making this second video. So I don't misdirect you guys. I didn't record me painting the second shoe because I thought I had enough content. It was only until I rewatched that I realized that I made it so hard on myself the first time around. But anyway, I want to take a quick second and talk about the details on the snake. I tried to keep the snake details as similar as possible to the real Gucci snake. However, if you look closely onto the snake, there are scales on the real Gucci snake. I decided not to put it on, but that is completely up to you if you do. I'm sure you can kind of finesse your way by cross-hatching it a bit or finding some type of pattern stencil and kind of like spraying a little bit, but I just decided not to do it. I thought it'd be a little too extra if I did, but that is completely up to you because this is your shoe and you can do whatever you want. And I know I said to Photoshop your shoe before you fully commit, but if you have an idea that's not too crazy, like halfway through your shoe, just feel free to do it, because you're gonna see in a bit that I do that exact same thing with the heels after looking at the real Gucci sneakers. And I thought that the gold lettering and the alternating heel colors was a good idea after looking at the real shoe. So I thought I'd put it in, because if you saw my Photoshop from before, it didn't have any heel colors. It was just white, and I thought it was missing something. And I know that the heels have somewhat of a scale texture, and kind of like what I was saying with the snake, those little details, I mean, that's completely up to you guys if you want to incorporate it. I'm sure you can find a stencil or something, or create your own stencil to kind of outline those scales. But for me, I just kept it simple. I just wanted the solid colors, and that's exactly what I did. And here are some more clips of the peeling. If you guys want more peeling clips, again, make sure to comment down below so I know. I do have a lot of extra footage of me peeling on the other shoe. Maybe in the future I'll do like a peel compilation or something. finally, I finished off the shoe by spraying a matte finish onto them. That's just my preference. If you guys feel like you want more of a glossy finish, go ahead and do that. It's completely up to you. And now for the final review. That's all for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested, check out my other videos. But until next time, peace.